Hello, everyone. My name is Curtis. Today, I want to discuss Sistas, Season 10, Episode 11, aka the finale. This episode focused on the following storylines. So, the first storyline involved Zach, Fatima, Mr. Keys. And so, when it comes to Fatima, she really wants Mr. Keys to be truthful and honest. Mr. Keys, he's trying to play dumb, but she's like, look, I was on the balcony. I overheard the conversation. I heard you say that Zach is your son. Like, I need you to just come out and just say it. Mr. Keys was like, look, I cannot say it right now. There's just so much going on. Like, I cannot reveal that information right now. The team was like, look, if you don't say anything, I'm going to say it myself. But he's like, listen, I just need more time. Like, please do not say anything. And so they are having this real tense conversation. But Zach, he actually comes downstairs. She's like, what's going on? They both were like, oh, it's nothing at all. But Zach, he could look at Fatima and he can tell, like, in her eyes, like, there's something going on. Like, you're lying. Like, you're not telling the truth. But she is able to kind of skate away and get out of it. And so he does ask Mr. Keys, like, what was that about? And so it did get quite intense between them for a second. But Mr. Keys was like, well, I mean, she just pretty much wanted to know how long we knew each other. So Zach was like, oh my gosh, she is so over the top. She's overprotective. You know, she's pregnant. So she's just doing the most right now. So it does kind of ease the tension for a brief moment because when it comes to Mr. Keys and Zach, they do sit down, they have a conversation. And Zach lets him know that Fatima has been pressing him to press Mr. Keys regarding his sperm donor. So Mr. Keys was like, well, I mean, when it comes to your sperm donor, I'm pretty sure he was a good guy. Zach was like, a good guy? He left me to be raised by a crack addict. And so when it comes to Mr. Keys, he was like, well, when it comes to your mom, she wasn't like that all the time. Zach, he's becoming overwhelmed, so he does decide to pivot and change the conversation. I know Mr. Keys was like, oh, thank God. The second storyline focused on the hair salon. So there is a client. She said that she spoke with Karen prior to her going to Washington, and Karen said that she would squeeze her in. She would make sure that she was scheduled, but unfortunately, she is not scheduled. And so this lady, she is pissed. She is mad. She's going off on Pam. This actually causes Danny and Maurice to come to the front, like, hey, what's going on? She explained the situation. They're just like, hey, unfortunately, you're not scheduled. And then also, when it comes to Karen, she actually moved. She went to Washington. But Maurice was like, you know what? To just stop all of this madness, I'll do your hair. And this is where we found out that Maurice is actually licensed and certified to do hair. The third storyline centered around Rich, Tony, and Madison. So the last time that I reviewed the show, Madison had not been introduced, so it was nice to see her. And so she actually owns a gym. And so when it comes to Tony and Rich, they're having a conversation about basically Tony running back to Danny. Like, Rich doesn't really understand because he's like, come on now. You pretty much caught her in the act of cheating. You got into a fight with the guy that she was cheating on you with. She doesn't like your kids. Like, why are you still running back to her? And then when it comes to Tony, it's just like, look, I still love her. I still care about her. And also, there's something going on with her. I can't really talk about it right now because it's not really my business to say. But just know that she needs me in this moment. And then also, when it comes to Madison, Tony could see that Rich and Madison, they have some type of chemistry. So he's just like, you know what, you should pursue that. And so when it comes to Rich, he's trying to play coy, but we know that eventually he's going to go after Madison. The fourth storyline centered around Cheyenne, her mom, and Hayden. So when it comes to Cheyenne, she still gets on my fucking nerves. Like, if you all go back and watch the first three videos that I did for season 10, you all would know that Cheyenne has been getting on my nerves since the beginning. And the reason why Cheyenne gets on my nerves is because they have made her so immature, and I do not understand why. Like, they treat her as if she is like a teenager, but she is a grown woman. I believe she's supposed to be, what, 25 years old or something like that? But they treat her as if she's like 14 or 15 years old with the decisions that she's making. And so when it comes to Hayden, she's kind of like playing with them. Like, she really wants to be with them, but she's kind of like, I'm not really sure because are you just using me to get at my sister? Hayden's like, of course, I'm not really trying to do that. But you know what, Hayden, you can never really be too sure with him. But I want to go back to the part about her pissing me off and why she gets on my fucking nerves. So we see her, she's mixing Sprite with codeine, right? Her mom calls her like, hey, how's everything going on? How's the job search? How are you and Andy? She actually rushes her off of the phone so she can mix the Sprite with the codeine and she drinks it. And I'm just like, Cheyenne, Cheyenne. That girl does not change. The next storyline centered around Andy and Fatima. So when it comes to Fatima, she has a lot on her mind when it comes to Mr. Keys because it's like she really wants to tell Zach what's going on, but at the same time, she doesn't really want to overstep. It's like she feels a way that she's not revealing this information to him because she feels like she's lying to him as well. But at the same time, she just feels like, okay, let me just allow him to speak up and say what he needs to say. And if he doesn't say what he needs to say in a timely manner, then that's when I will come in. And so when it comes to Andy, she just tried to come into the office real quick, give her like some paperwork. Andy could tell that something's going on, so she's like, you know what, let's just sit down, let's talk, let's have a conversation. and Fatima actually reveals to Andy that Mr. Keys is Zach's father. Andy asked Fatima if she confronted Mr. Keys about, this information about him being Zach's father. She was like, well, I mean, I was in the process of doing that, but then Zach actually came downstairs. So I was like, you know what? This is not the time for us to really expand on this. Let me just leave and let them have a conversation. When I did get up, Zach, he can tell that something was off, something was wrong, but I was able to kind of skate out of the house. But my hope right now is that from the time that I left to right now, maybe the two of them had a conversation, they were able to hash it out, and he was able to reveal everything to Zach. That is my hope. You know what? I'm going to give him a call a little bit later, and then hopefully he can tell me that Mr. Keys told me that information, and that will take a lot of weight off of my shoulders. Andy asks her what is she going to do if she finds out that Mr. Keys did not reveal the information to Zach that he is his father. She's like, well, I mean, if I find out that he did not reveal the information, I feel like I may need to possibly step in and just reveal the information myself. Like, I feel like it's come to a point where we just need to get everything out in the open because this buddy friendship thing that they're doing is weird as fuck. Because it's like, come on now, at this point, just say that you were his father. So Andy's like, you know what? If you feel this strongly about it, I feel like you just need to speak up and say something. The last storyline involves Andy, Danny, and Fatima. So while Andy and Fatima are having a conversation, Danny actually calls Andy to give her an update as far as like what's going on with the salon. And then also she tells Andy that she wants to speak to her about, Sabrina. So she went to the hospital. She had a conversation with the social worker, so she just wants to talk to Andy face to face. So Andy's like, of course, you can come into the office. It won't be no problem. So Danny does eventually make it to the office. They have a conversation. This is where Danny lets her know that the social worker told her that she has been trying to hunt down Sabrina's next of kin. And then he's like, wait a minute, I thought you were the next of kin. She was like, no, I'm just pretty much the emergency contact. I can't make any medical decisions. They need to find the next of kin to actually make those medical decisions. And he was just like, oh, I mean, that's nothing. I mean, we can just go down to the court and say that you want to be Sabrina's legal guardian so that way you can make medical decisions and take care of other things in Sabrina's life like it's nothing. And then he's like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on for a second. Whoa, hold on, Andy. I can barely take care of a plant. I can barely control what's going on in my life. You see what's going on with me right now. Like, I can't be responsible for what's going on with Sabrina right now. Like, come on now, hold on for a second. Let's just think this through. And he was like, okay, well, I mean, in regards to Sabrina's family, do we know much about her family? Danny was like, well, when it comes to her mom, she was not around, so she was raised by a grandmother. Unfortunately, her grandmother passed away a couple of years ago, so she doesn't have any close relatives. And he was like, okay, well, in regards to legal guardianship, I mean, is that something that you think you can do? Is that something that you can handle? Danny was like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I have the mental capacity to take on all of the responsibilities involved with Sabrina. I'm not really sure that's something I can handle. So Annie's like, okay. So then Danny's like, well, I mean, what about you? She was like, what about me? She's like, would you want to be her legal guardian? And he was like, oh, I'm not really sure. So Dan's like, see, exactly. Like, you were so quick to ask me if I want to be her legal guardian, but when I asked you, you're like, you don't want to do it either. So just back off a little bit and stop trying to put that on me. So Andy's like, okay, listen, I definitely understand. This is a big deal. This is a big decision. So let's just let the hospital continue to be in charge of Sabrina and what's going on with her. And then we will try to figure this out at a later date when one of us feels comfortable doing it. Andy decides to pivot and she brings up what's going on with Danny. So she's like, is everything okay? How you been doing? In regards to Officer Green. So at this time, Andy does not know that it's Officer Green, but she's just like, hey, how's everything going? She says, it's going. I'm trying to move forward and I'm just doing as best as I can. Andy's like, you need to seriously consider pressing charges. Danny's like, I'm not really sure. Andy's like, no, this person tried to rape you. You definitely need to press charges, get this person off of the streets. Like, what if this person comes back to your house? Danny was like, you know what? I don't think that this person's going to come back to my house. I'm not really concerned. And he was like, we decided to come back together as friends and we both said that we will be more open and honest with each other. But I just feel like you were just keeping things from me. But when it comes to Danny, she's just not ready to speak on it. And you know what? I do not feel like we really need to rush her to do this. But at the same time, I can see Andy's point of view. Like, this person definitely needs to be charged, but I can see her not really being sure about it based off of her previous experiences with other situations. In regards to Fatima, because I did advise that she is within the storyline, Fatima does receive a call from Zach, and she asks Zach if him and Mr. Keys had a conversation about the conversation that she and Mr. Keys had after she left the house. He was like, yeah, he told me that you just pretty much wanted to know how long we knew each other. She was like, that's the only thing that he brought up? That's the only thing you two discussed? He was like, yeah. She was like, oh my God. He was like, why are you giving him such a hard time? She was like, because he's not being honest. And Zach was like, look, I do not want to know. She was like, but Zach, there's something I need to tell you. He was like, listen, I do not want to know. I do not care. Just leave it alone, please. So Fatima was like, fine. And I was just like, oh my God, is this really happening? Are we really dragging this storyline out? Like, come on now, Tyler Perry. Like, are you really going to make us wait until the actual finale of season 10? Is this going to drag on into season 11? Like, what exactly is going on? Like, why didn't you all just put this to rest here? Like, this is the mid season finale. And to be honest with you all, this did not feel like a mid season finale. This felt like a regular episode. Like, what was really resolved here? When it comes to Zach and Mr. Keys, Zach still does not know that Mr. Keys is his father. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I cannot believe that they have been dragging this out for so long. But you know what? This is Tyler Perry's world. I'm just living in it. So I'm just going to watch it and just hope that it's revealed soon. Now, how is Fatima integrated into Danny and Andy's storyline? So when it comes to Andy, after she has her conversation with Danny, she does go to Fatima and she's like, hey, what are you doing later today? She's like, oh, nothing, just probably chilling. She's like, okay, well, I feel like we need to go over to Danny's house just to, have a conversation with her, try to cheer her up. Fatima's like, okay, cool. And so when it comes to Andy, she does go over to Danny's place. And when she gets over there, Danny lets her know that she actually went to the hospital to see Sabrina. And she's still pretty much in shock seeing Sabrina like that in the hospital. It's just something that she cannot get used to. Like, she really can't believe it. And then somebody actually knocks on the door. And so Andy, she just walks up and she opens the door. Danny was like, are you not going to ask who it is? She was like, no, because she already knew that it was Fatima coming. So Fatima does come inside. And then they have a conversation pretty much about the fact that Andy and Fatima believe that Danny needs to go to the police so this person could be charged. Danny's like, I'm not really ready to do that. The next thing you know, somebody starts knocking on the door. So Fatima actually answers the door, and when she answers the door, it's Dr. Green. And Dr. Green was all bruised up, and something I did not mention earlier is that Danny let Fatima and Andy know that she hit the person with a frying pan on his head, right? And so when she opened the door, she could see Officer Green, and he had a bruise on his head. And so it's not going to take long for Fatima to put two and two together. And that was actually how the episode ended. Now, when it comes to my overall thoughts on this episode, I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but I felt like this episode was kind of weak. Like I said, it did not feel like a mid-season finale at all. I mean, what really happened? Like, you had Rich and Tony having a conversation about the fact that Rich does not understand why Tony keeps running back to Danny. He says that he loves Danny. Okay. Madison and Rich are still trying to get to know each other, but it's clear that they are going to hook up. In regards to Cheyenne, she's still getting on my nerves, still pissing me off. She's mixing codeine with Sprite, and she's drinking inside of Andy's penthouse. And then when it comes to Zach, Mr. Keys, that's still unresolved. When it comes to Fatima, she's in this weird situation where she wants to tell her man, but he does not want to know this information. But he doesn't want to know this information because he doesn't know the full extent of it. So this episode, it was just a whole bunch of nothing. And I'm just hoping that once we go into part B, it is much better. That's everything that I have for you all. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you could, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It would be great. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.